it is that slow time of year between Christmas and New Year's. A lot of business owners are kind of packing it in, looking at what they could do to save on taxes, maybe make some, maybe buy a car, maybe prepay some expenses. What I want to do with Mr. Matt, the mortgage guys, I want to look into the future. I want to look see what his broken crystal ball has to say. I want to look into 2024 and what the heck? Why not even talk about what may happen over the next 3 to 5 years? Matt,
Yeah.
thank you for being here this week. A lot of people are taking it off.
Yeah, for sure. It's a slower week. There's not a lot of activity going on, so there's not a lot to report from the mortgage side. Even Wednesday as we record, they don't have the weekly number that we usually get, which is mortgage
Right,
applications. They're going to do a double dose for us next Wednesday on January the 3rd. So not a
right.
lot of data to report, but I think it's a good time to look back at 2023, the year that everybody said it was going to crash. Look
Mhm.
forward to 24. I think it's always interesting to look at what the most bullish people are saying, what the most bearish people are saying about home
Sure.
price appreciation. And I saw a couple numbers thrown out for 5-year appreciation numbers, which is not only interesting, but if you're buying a house, it's probably more important. There's not a lot of people that are like, I'm going to buy in January. I'm going to sell probably around December of 24.
Yeah.
Let's look at what's going to happen in that 1 year period. So
That's actually a really good point, right? There's not a lot of homeowners. Obviously, death, divorce, job transfers, happen. But when you're buying a home, you're typically making I think the average is 8 years, right? A home.
I think
S
it's gone up and I think it's approaching double digits. Yeah. So if it hasn't crested 10, it's getting there. And like everything we've seen over the last couple years, not surprised if it goes
Yeah,
to double
exactly.
digits.
It's gonna go higher.
Yeah.
It's gonna go higher. So,
Let's
yeah, we'll
start with
definitely
your
talk.
predictions, Mike. I
Okay.
want to hear what you think is going to happen, knowing what you know about home buyer demand and some of the dynamics of
Mhm.
short supply. If you had to place a bet and you were given $100 bill right now, if you
Okay.
hit it on the head, you win a prize for
Okay.
2024 home price appreciation.
Alright, so we'll do existing home sales nationally, so just so we get the right criteria so nobody can, claim I didn't talk about it. Um, Median home price, United States, existing home sales by Case-Shiller, let's just add that in there. The latest reading of Case-Shiller was for October, I think it was up 6% or there in 23. So let's say, wow, 5%. I think we're gonna be up 5% median home sales. And a lot of that, just to kind of tie people together on why I think 5%, it's because the the housing market is still broken. I do not think the move-up buyer comes back in any meaningful way. Thus, the sales that do occur will skew to the luxury side. I think there will be people that get amazing deals in luxury homes. For example, you wanna buy a $3 million home for $2 million, that will show up as $1 million discount, but it still will put the median price higher, even though it's a 33% discount. That's just how the math works. I'm starting
Yeah.
to see luxury stuff stack up. I think there will be a breaking point. So I think the median gets pulled higher because we disproportionately sell more expensive homes. So 5%, the answer. Final
Okay.
answer.
Final answer, 5%. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, 2024 from an appreciation standpoint is probably going to look a lot like 23. A lot of the same stuff applies. The scary part for home buyers and for investors is that if demand gets injected with the steroid that is lower interest rates, that makes a case for more home price appreciation, which the funny part is people hear me say it and they're like, oh my gosh, you just have to talk good about housing because you're in the industry and you write loans. I don't want home prices to go up
No,
10%.
you want them to be lower. You would love to do more loans.
I want deals. Yeah, I want deals. I want clients to get deals. But 6% is probably a good guesstimate. One fun thing I want to do with you, Mike, is look at a 5-year window
Oh my
because I
gosh.
looked at US home price expectations this morning. Barry Habib and his team did something where it's the most optimistic quartile, the most pessimistic quartile, and then panel wide. What these
Right.
percentages are over the next 5 years, and it's an important metric to look at like we talked about, most people aren't going to, buy and then sell a year later. So they want to know, what's my house going to be worth in 5 years and 10 years? What do you think the
Oh my
most
gosh.
optimistic quartile percent was over a 5-year period?
So again, this is not my prediction. This is just me guessing where the bulls are.
Right.
Well, if I just said 5% and I thought that was conservative for a year, oh, dude, are they talking 30%?
Yes. The number starts with a 3. Well, if we're rounding, Mike, it's 39.6.
Oh, okay, shit, 40%. Okay.
So 40%, which, that's the most optimistic. That,
So let's just do the math, right? The median home price in the US is what, like 380 or something?
somewhere in
So
that range.
that's let's just call it 400 because I can do math better that way. That's up 160 grand. So that would
That
be a
would be
400
scary.
to 560. That would be scary.
That would be scary.
Okay.
Here's the interesting part for people listening. Maybe you're not a bull. Maybe you're like, there's going to be some headwinds in housing. What did the most pessimistic quartile say about home price appreciation over the next 5 years? This is Q4 of 2023 to Q4 of 2028. The most
Well, it can't be
pessimistic
negative.
quartile.
I just can't imagine the most negative is negative. I can't see that. So I'll say 2% a year. So 10%.
It's like you've done this before, man. It's exactly 10%.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's wild. And again, what's his name? George Gammon, right? George Gammon has started to come out and talk about housing prices going down in real terms, not nominal. So the reason I'm bringing that up, because again, if you have 2% housing growth, but you also have 2% inflation over 5 years, you can really have 0 real percent. But again, what happens? Your debt is in nominal terms. So, right. So the debt doesn't go up or down based on inflation. It's fixed.
The
yeah,
last one,
10%.
Mike, is a layup because it's
no.
panel wide, and so it's going to be right in the middle. But panel wide over this next 5-year period, as you would imagine, lands right in the middle at 25%. Which,
exactly,
if you take that $400,000 median home price and we just round up, those homes being 500,000 5 years from now.
Well, you know what? I'm playing with this in my head because first off, that scares the shit out of me, right? But maybe it's not as bad as I fear because some of this is going to be interest rate related, right? If you go from 8% interest rates to 5% interest rates and then prices go up a little bit, you can actually be more affordable because of how the math works. And by the way, incomes aren't going to be flat. I think another great question would be, how much are incomes up in 5 years? I think that would be a fun conversation because that's the thing that not a lot of people get about housing is a lot of people love to use this scary chart about price to income, which is, I guess, interesting from an intellectual standpoint, but means absolutely nothing. How many of us buy homes for cash? Almost no one.
Right.
So it's about payment. And so if you add on interest rates, you could in theory see this is 2021 all over again. Prices go up, but payments go down. Why? Because we saw 2.5% interest rates. So
I did a quick math. I was hoping I could get it done real quick while you were talking. 400 grand at 8%, just a FHA 3.5% down. And honestly, the payment doesn't matter. 500 grand at 5%, the payment is about $80 a month lower.
See? I knew it. I am good at this game.
Put the shirt on. You nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, yeah, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
For sure.
Well, that actually got me going. That's pretty good. Go from 8 to 5. You can go up 100 grand and your payment's lower.
Yep. $80 a month lower. And people will be screaming about how wild it is about home prices when they're paying less per month.
Yep, exactly. Well, the good news is I own a couple of homes. So it would be good for me if prices went up, I guess.
That's what I always say. I'm like, guys like me and you and other people who own real estate.
Yeah.
10% bump in the value of all of it. It helps the net worth, but I'm still, rooting for the buyers that I represent and all of them. So
I'm looking to add more. So
the problem is we can, wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up first, right? Like we don't have as much control as we'd like to. So If you want to get started in the next video, Mike, I want to talk about something I saw recently too about
Ooh,
these next 3 months in real estate. So
I look forward to that. Where can people find you to get started? They can do refis, FHA Streamline, VA, whatever the heck that's called.
get yourself
And
pre-approved, do all the things. Go to greatmortgagebroker.com. We're in 48 states, so we're happy to help wherever you're at. Connect you with a team member, whether it's me or another great team member that specializes in that state. Greatmortgagebroker.com.
thank you, buddy.